Morning, everyone. Guess who's back? It's me. Yeah, it's me.
It's Amy. Come on.
And it's
Don't
Sazzy.
downplay. Hey.
Hey. Big day for you, huh, today?
It is. It's
Big,
a big
big day.
week, big day. I can't believe it's today already.
I know. It's going to be a big night,
It's
actually.
gonna be a big night. All of nerves.
That's right.
Yeah.
And your show is at 8 p.m.
At 8 p.m. today.
It's going to be big. Now, let's dive right into it, right?
Okay,
Shall
sure.
we?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Now, I just have to address something, okay? I followed you, Golden Ginchu,
Oh
for
my
a long time.
God.
For a long time. But
I love when people say that because they say that all the time, but it doesn't get old for me. And I think
No.
I just really appreciate people just knowing me from Golden
Yeah.
because I love that movie.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, though.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's talk about the transition from an actress into a fashion designer.
The transition. I don't know. A lot of people say like, okay, you know, is there any difference between being an actor and a fashion designer? I'd say if you want to compare those two, obviously I know acting since I was very young.
Yeah.
And it's something that I've always loved since I was a kid, going to theaters and everything. But I think what I love about acting is the same thing. What I love about fashion, it's about creating.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to acting, you're creating this character, you're creating this story for this character, and then therefore that character has to fit the story of the movie or the film or the stage show. And I think that's what fashion is for me as well, because I love creating. It's creating a character, it's creating something. That piece gives you something.
Yeah.
So the transition was obviously after being in industry for about 17 years. My husband at that time had gone like, you know, you've been doing a lot of fashion stuff. You love fashion. I think he recognized that in me from the day we started dating. And he's always sort of pressured me. He's like, why don't you do something in fashion? Why don't you do something in fashion? And at that time I was like, I can't imagine doing anything in fashion because there was no online platforms then. It was just shops. So I thought of like, in terms of the business perspective, you know, having the overheads of the rent and everything, how is that going to work, you know, and it's something that's completely new. Obviously anything when it comes to business, it's always going to be completely new. But when the opportunity came, it was back in 2011, I realized people were then starting to do online shopping, and I thought, hey, why not get into it? Let me just create some stuff because I do love doing. At that point, I was wearing a lot of kimonos, and I like taking batik pieces and actually making into kimonos. I like throwovers, as you can tell, and it just really started from there. Like on my mom's dining table, I was just out of confinement. I thought I'll just give this a try, and then it just grew from there.
Yeah. I mean, so let's talk about your style as well, because obviously, as opposed to being an actress, you're portraying someone, but now it's kind of like you have your own personality. That personality is on the runway. And of course, a piece of your style has to be translated onto the runway.
My style, if I want to talk about my style, it's always been very relaxed, very practical. I love fashion absolutely, but I also love being able to put pieces together. And you're talking about when being an actor, you're being someone else.
Yeah.
I think fashion has the ability to do that as well. When you dress up, like for instance, you can wake up on a really gloomy day and you're feeling really blurred, and then you go like, oh my god, I've got this huge presentation that I have to do. I got to be powerful. I got to be, confident. So you do it this way where you dress from the outside in.
Yeah, that's true.
So you put on like a electric blue jacket that gives you that power. So it's the same thing for me. That's fashion. So in terms of my style, onto the runway, it's a piece of me, and I think it's always been a bit boho and very relaxed.
It has been, yeah. I mean, we've seen each other a few times already now,
Yeah.
and you've always, I mean, her style, I would definitely say it's bohemian chic. It's boho chic.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I think it's boho, but then when people say it, so I'm like, okay, so it must be true.
It is.
But I think it's what I like about it is comfort, and I don't like it when it's too structured. I don't like it when it's too fixed or when it's too planned. I like it when you just throw things together. It's like art.
Yeah.
When you do abstract, you just throw all the colors on. You're like, oh wow, it became that. So sometimes you can go horribly wrong.
But what is fashion anyways? If you don't have,
you don't make mistakes,
you don't make
right?
mistakes. You kind of learn and trial and errors and everything. I mean,
And fashion is art.
Fashion
You're
is
supposed
art.
to make mistakes. You're supposed to
Exactly.
just try and do stuff and see what happens in the end.
Exactly. I remember once you had like blue hair or something like that.
I had many
Was it?
kinds of hair.
Yeah.
I had most of the time it was purple or pink.
Yeah. That.
I think I only did blue once, and obviously at that time I had already slowed down tremendously in acting, and I thought, hey, now I can just be me, which is crazy.
Which is good. Well, it's
so I'm
good.
like, yay, pink hair and everything. So because in my 20s I was doing a lot of acting, so I had to be, somewhat friendly to whatever character was given to me. So I had to be the normal dark hair, long hair, typical actress look lah.
And now we see the true Sazzy Falak.
I guess
Her
so.
true
The
colours
colours
are
all
showing.
coming out. It's like all the blondes coming out.
Everything is coming out lah. Okay, so let's.
Well, not everything.
Not everything. Let's just keep it a bit secret. lah. Okay, so let's talk about your style that has evolved through the years, and also the brand that has evolved through the years. How do you feel that your brand, the Sazzy Falak woman, has evolved?
Oh, you know what? I love that question because I can't even think of an answer. And it obviously has evolved. And in the beginning, it started with just kimonos, taking batik pieces and doing kimonos out of it. And then me going into making it into a collection. And there were a lot of trial and errors. Obviously, not coming from a fashion background, not knowing how to sit down and sketch, and then after that, doing the cuttings and the pattern making and all that. Those were stuff that I had to learn myself. So in the very beginning, obviously, it was just me and another staff of mine.
Yeah.
Like literally going to the seamstress, going to this tempat jahit and like doing this and trying to understand, calling my designer friends like Shome, like Cho from PU3, and these guys have been amazing. Like they just supported me. So I would call them like, how would you say this? How do you call that? It's called pleats, Sazzy. Oh, okay. So pleats, yang lipat-lipat tu. How do you call that? Oh, that's drape, Sazzy. I'm like, okay. So I had to learn all those stuff.
Yeah.
But then after a couple of years, and then I started coming up with my own designing team, and then and I have Fauzi, who's my creative director, who now understands my very incoherent way of trying to, explain my idea. And he goes like, okay, Sazzy, I know this is what you want. So it's that jive that we have now. So obviously it has evolved, and I would like to believe that the collection's much better. It's a lot more thought of. You know, I'm a lot more particular because I have the space to be more particular. Because I have someone that I can bounce ideas with, and I have another designer that I can bounce ideas with. So in terms of quality, I am very particular, and I tell my team, we're not dressing for the skinnies. We're not dressing just for the art. We're dressing women, everyday women, who comes in all shapes and sizes. And how do we make them feel like a rock star, like a queen? Yeah, it's all about the cuttings. It's all about the silhouette. So I'm very particular about that because a lot of people think like, yes, as you wear anything, you look good. I'm like, no. I have a certain body shape. Yeah. I just need to know how to put pieces together. So it's the same. So I design pieces that I would like to believe that all women from all who has all who comes in all shapes and sizes are able to wear.
I mean, that's the whole idea with fashion these days, because fashion is so democratic. Yeah. And with democracy being the key word here as well. I mean, how do you overcome this whole stigma of transition from actress, not having that fashion background prior, but then finally coming out to having a successful brand. But do you get any stigma? Because it's people judge, can?
What? Sorry?
People judge, can?
People judge, and I believe not just some people outside from out there. I'm sure there were designers also who felt the same way. But I come from an industry where it's entertainment industry, and people were judging me from way back then anyway. So, and I've come to realize that as long as you believe in what you're doing and you keep on doing it, after a while people go like, okay, she's in it for the long run. Yeah. So in the beginning stages, the first few years, obviously I had people going, nah, what you doing? But there were also people who supported me, people who believed in me, people who knew me as the Sazzy that when she does something, she goes all the way.
That's right.
And after a couple of years, especially since last year, I had designer friends coming up to me and going, hey, welcome.
That's a testament.
That's huge for me. That's huge. But it just goes to show that after a while, you just, as long as you believe, you keep pushing, people will go, okay, I'm bought into this crazy woman's idea, this crazy woman who never went to fashion school, but now she's really doing this fashion line. She's in it for the long run. She's not in it for the glam, I had a certain idea why I wanted to do this. So, and I'm glad I'm still here.
Yeah, we're glad that you're still here. We're glad you're here.
Thank you so much, guys. You guys made my day by saying that.
No, you. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about your style.
Okay.
We've already talked about you being a little bit more, very bohemian, very free-spirited in a way, manner of speaking. But where did that free-spirited aesthetic come from? Were you inspired? Do you listen to music? Like for me, like I watch films a lot.
Excuse my coughing. Okay, I just got well. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, like for me, I watch films and I'm like, I want to dress up like, a princess today, like a Cinderella.
And you do like a princess today. I love it.
Thank you.
Like a rocker, chic, ex-princess kind of look. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
Okay. So, where does your style inspiration usually come from?
I would say music, I think. Yeah. When I was in college, I was in Lim Kok Wing. And no, there was no fashion department then, but I was doing mass comm, and I was really into this very, I wouldn't say completely rock, but sort of like Incubus, that kind of rock music, alternative rock, and also to music, I think, even classical music, even down to Tracy Chapman and all that. I just grew up with all this amazing music. So I think the sort of music that I listened to were very relaxed, very rock, very bohemian. So bohemian meaning it was a mix of everything, and I think that's where my styling came from, because back in college I was very much like the rocker chick. I would wear my ripped jeans and singlet, but I had huge chunks of accessories. I loved accessorizing since even then, and it's obviously the style has evolved. Obviously, I'm no longer wearing just jeans and singlet, but it's still got that relaxed feel where you can just throw in stuff together. You can make it it's practical. It can be, you can either look like a rock star, or you can put it together with a pair of trousers and make it look a bit more put together. So I think it came from music. I mean, as much as I grew up watching films, but I would say my style came from the music that I listened to when I was growing up.
Is it possible for us to see that side of you within this collection today?
I think so, yes, definitely. It's very different from what I've done for the past couple of years. People say, Sazzy, whatever it's you, it's always about prints. Here's a little surprise. There are absolutely no prints in this collection this year. So wait and see. Wait and see.
Okay, tell us more about it then. Come on, just 2 words.
Okay,
two
just
words.
a little bit. Okay, so obviously, when they say they look at Sazzy's style, Sazzy's collection has always been about prints. I decided that I wanted to take away the prints and take those prints and translate into the styling instead.
Well, there you have it, guys.
And yeah, you'll see later.
There we go.
I'm obviously very nervous, so I'm kind of speechless.
We're gonna go and have 5 shots of coffee after this espresso.
Yes.
Because it's day 4.
It's day 4. Well, it's
day
actually
4.
day 4 for you. It's day 1. It's the first day I'm in
That's
Pavilion
right,
because
that's
I
right.
chose to sort of stay out and just
you've
work
only
on
had
the
5
collection.
hours of sleep, right?
Yes, for the past 1 month. I think. I'm just kidding. No.
So I think let's call it a wrap, and
Yes.
we will see each other on the runway at 8
Thank
p.m.
you for having me,
Guys, 8
Amy
p.m.
and
Okay.
Harpers. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
See you guys later.